Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today, the invitation is to explore objective reality and really whether or not we can actually even ever experience that. Because when I say objective reality, that would be us seeing life as it is in its purest sense. And the more I explore in this direction, the less I see that that is actually possible. I think we can get closer in a conversation like this, in an exploration like this. But because we can't think outside our own thinking, because we can't perceive outside our own perception, it's impossible for us to see the world in an objective way. That conditioned mind of ours cannot create an objective reality. And this is not about denying the existence of things in the world. So, there's lots of things on my desk right now. This pen is one of them. I don't think this pen actually works, which makes it a little bit useless. But you know that as I show you this pen, as you look at a pen that I might be looking at, you and I will have a different experience, even of something as simple as a pen. You might think, oh, I don't really like that colour of pen, or that looks like it's too thin. I like one that's firmer, or I like a triangle-shaped pen, and that one's a cylinder. Whatever. There's so many things. That pen might remind you of a pen from the past that you used once before when you were in a different job, or when you were younger, or whatever. So if you take that tiny microcosm of life and how we're both perceiving that differently, then what really is the pen? What is real about the pen? You and I will be seeing it, perceiving it, experiencing it differently. So if that's just a tiny thing like a pen, how does that spread across every single aspect of our lives? Now, on listening to this, it may be shaking the foundations of what you believe to be true, and understandably. But I think there's something more pleasant about this, and that is to know that when we are caught up in some thought storm that is creating in us a really unpleasant feeling, when we feel off, when we feel anxious and stressed and lost, to know that there is space for us not to see that anymore. There's space for us to have a different reality, and that space is available only one thought away. And I know you've seen this, because we've all, haven't we, been caught up in an argument or frustrated with somebody or something, probably rowing. We've all rowed with our other half at some point, and with our teenage children. And been so caught up in the reality of us being right, they're wrong, they need to change their behaviour, we're feeling terrible, we're feeling angry and frustrated, and then something happens, something on the hob catches fire, or a child falls and needs our help. And in that second, the whole thing, the whole reality of that argument, everything that was real about what you needed to say and how they needed to be different, just falls away, just disappears, because your thinking has moved on, it's gone, and there's somewhere else to be. There's in your head, you're then somewhere else. You're dealing with the emergency, like the pan being on fire, or the child who's fallen, or whatever else may have occurred. And that just shows us that capacity to just let go of all this stuff that seems so real, and just move on to something else, almost, well, not almost, actually instantaneously, is a capacity that we have within us that is always available. And just knowing that that is always available is really, really helpful when we're not feeling so good. You know, when we're not feeling so good, but there is this sense that there is a possibility to see past this, there's a possibility to feel different, and that possibility is just a thought away, I think is reassuring. That I found it to be reassuring. And when I work with people, they seem to find it reassuring too, that there can be just an insight, a new thought, and suddenly all that stuff that seemed utterly real, that seemed to be subjectively real, just falls away. And the other thing to know about this is it's nobody's fault. We're not saying some people are right and some are wrong, or that you're wrong for believing your objective reality. Of course it looks real to you, because we as individual human beings have had curated in us a collection of thoughts, ideas, beliefs, things that we think are true. And that has been happening to us, just happening over the entirety of our lives, from when we were very small. And we've always looked through this system that has been created inside us, this system of thought. We don't really have a choice but to look through our own thinking at the world. But when we consider that thinking is age-old conditioning, is things that people said to us in anger, is, you know, I said today to somebody, it's like something your grandma said, or your great-grandma said to your grandma decades ago, maybe, you know, even way further back than that, is something that is impacting on you right now. That just blows your mind, doesn't it? Because your great-grandmother said it to your grandmother, who said it to your mother, who said it to you, or rebelled against it and said the opposite. Whichever it is, it's still this chain of hereditary thinking has been passed down and passed down and passed down. And not only is that just mind-blowing, it's so interesting. And where it can be really interesting is when we do feel, when we're feeling meh and we're not feeling good, and we're very caught up and we have some things on our mind, and we experience that feeling, and we know in that moment that feeling is coming from thought, then this space opens up for exploration. You know, what am I believing right now? No, we don't need to go back in the past and find the source. But how interesting. What a really strange feeling I'm having right now. What a lot of busy thinking I've got in my head. What is it that I'm believing right now? I'm believing something that isn't true. I'm believing something that's coming from this subjective reality that I am part of all the time. And then there's a space for a bit of curiosity, and that is a space for exploration, a space for goodness gracious. Isn't this interesting how this is going, how this has seemed to, what is this story that I've got? What am I believing right now that's not true? Where is my thinking? What is the story? Those questions can be just so enlightening. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.